thanks a lot for coming in.
Good morning, happy to be here.
Something about this community appeals to you?
This is a wonderful place to live.
For Kelowna Now, this is Camp Mulgat.
And we're joined by Daryl Greeneisen, an instructor of motorcycling and also car drivers. You do the whole gamut.
I do, yes.
And we've got you here because of these disturbing stats about motorcycle fatalities from the BC Coroner Service. Fatalities more than doubling, 18 in the month of July alone, 30 for the first part of 2018. These are people being killed riding motorcycles. How do you feel when you hear numbers like that, Daryl?
Well, it scares me. I mean, I've been riding motorcycles for over 40 years. I've never had a major crash, but you need to be smart about riding a bike. It's mostly about, before you get on the bike, what are you thinking about? You know, you're still thinking about your family, the work, things like that. You need to clear your mind and think about the ride.
Yeah. You know, I used to ride motorcycles years ago, and I'm kind of reluctant to get back into it, especially when I hear things like this. And one of the fears I have is that you are so at the mercy of other drivers. But yet the numbers seem to indicate in most cases, it is the motorcycle rider themselves. It's the speed and alcohol are the two number one things. It's not the other drivers in the cases of these fatalities.
That's right. You know, when we go for rides, it's a joyful ride. Why do we need to go so fast? You know, and alcohol should never be part of the ride, you know, or drugs.
The
like,
tolerance level for alcohol for motorcyclists, what would you say? Zero?
Zero. Absolutely zero. You know, people say, oh, one's okay, you know, but it's not. Any part of an impairment is an impairment, and on a motorcycle, you're very vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, I ride with proper gear. I've got, you know, a high-vis vest on, so I want to be seen. That's part of it. You know, do car drivers see motorcycles? Lots of people have loud bikes because they say loud bikes save lives, you know, but it's part of, you need to be seen.
Yeah. But these aren't cool, are they?
It doesn't matter if it's cool or not, it saves my life. I do believe it saves your life.
But you look around and most motorcyclists aren't wearing those.
No, and most motorcyclists don't wear the full gear either. I mean, this summer when it's hot, you see a lot of shorts and t-shirts, and you know, you fall down on a bicycle, you're going to hurt yourself 10 times, 100 times more.
Could there be a happy medium in terms of visibility? You know, if you're not willing to wear the full reflector vest, could the clothing manufacturers at least put some, you know, some high-vis elements on the clothing?
Oh, there's lots of it. Like even this here, all my piping is high-vis.
Right.
Right? It shines up at night. You can get high-vis jackets that have just yellow and orange and pink now for the ladies. There's some really nice-looking female clothing, because typically all the riding gear has always been black.
Yeah.
Black on black on black.
It's the worst.
It is, yeah. So now that they're coming out with stuff that has high-vis and stuff like that, helmets are colorful now. It's good for us.
So what can you do as a motorcycle instructor to somehow have your students not winding up as part of these terrible stats?
Well, we talk about in the classroom and on the parking lot and in traffic is don't ride in somebody else's blind spot, right? Be very aware of what positioning you are on the road. When you're stopping, make sure that you always have your foot or your hand on the back brake or on the front brake, just to light up that brake light. Mm-hmm. In a car, we have 2 lights or sometimes 3 lights. On a motorcycle, our light can be only this big and it's only 1. So you want to make sure that that's on all the time.
Yeah. Do you see people that come to you for their instruction? Can you kind of sense that some people have maybe a personality that's not suited to riding a motorcycle, that, you know, that really want the speed? And does it scare you sometimes, some of the people that are driving away with their license?
Oh yeah, we hear guys, you know, 16 and 17 years old and go, oh, I just bought a 1000 Ninja or a big bike, and they're talking about how fast they can go and stuff like that. And we try to talk to them about, you know, is speed such a big thing, you know, the speed limit.
Yeah. That is one of the thrills of a motorcycle, that, you know, just off the line, that instant power. I mean, it is part of what draws people to
Oh,
it.
sure. And it doesn't even have to be like a big sport bike. The small bikes have a lot of power. We train off little 250s that are just quick off the line.
Yeah.
You know, 0 to 50 real fast. First, second gear, you're at 50 already.
But there's only so much. So you'll talk to them about trying to really, underline the importance of not giving into the temptation to see how fast it can go in traffic.
We talk about speed and fatalities a lot. We show videos about people that have been in accidents and look where they are now. Most of the time, the attitude is what's going to get people into trouble. And sometimes you can suggest that they don't ride. I've had a couple of people through the years that you're just not in the right headset to ride right now.
Yeah.
You know? But all my buddies ride these big bikes, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll say, yeah, they'll buy all the gear and ride nice for the first couple of years, and then they think that they've got lots of experience, and then they change.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to sort of risk taking, it tends to be young men in that age group, right? Between 16 and
25.
late 25.
16 to 25.
That hurt themselves in all sorts of different ways, and that's probably the people that come to you to get their motorcycle license. That's probably the majority, or a lot of your riders are in that age zone.
Yes. Some people pick up the bike for the wrong reasons. All their buddies ride, and they've literally pushed them into riding. They don't really want to ride, but all their buddies are forcing them to. Like, come on, let's do this. It'll be fun. You have to think about why you want to ride. We get a lot of females that ride for the wrong reasons also. Their husbands or boyfriends ride, so they want to ride. They're tired of riding on the back, but they're not quite ready.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, your attitude before you start the bike is really important. Where am I going? What am I going to do? I ride with lots of different people, and we'll all say at the beginning of the ride, where are we ending up? Well, we're ending up at this store here, or this campground, or whatever. So, okay, some ride faster, some ride slower, but we all know where we're going. It is up to you to decide how you want to ride.
Sometimes you'll see people lane splitting.
That's just stupid. Motorcycles have the same rules as cars. You're not allowed to lane split. That's just the law.
Yeah. It must scare you even more when you see some people driving without much thought to safety.
Lane splitting, riding down the bicycle lane to make it faster, things like that, that's all fully illegal, and you shouldn't be doing it.
So I was wondering about these stats, all these increased fatalities. Are there more people on the road motorcycling as well? Is that part of it?
That's part of it, for sure.
More deaths because there's more people out there? Is that part of it? Yeah.
Well, yeah. The more people you have on bikes, the greater chances that more people are going to get hurt and killed, for sure.
Yeah.
And in the last few years, there has been more and more people taking up motorcycling, which is good because it's a great fun sport, and it's safe if you're careful.
Yeah, that's what the stats seem to say, is that improving these numbers, getting the fatalities down, is to a great extent in the hands of the motorcycle riders themselves.
Yes, but more and more motorcycles nowadays are taking courses. In Kelowna, we have 3 companies that do it. There's myself at All Weather Driving School, Kelowna Safety Council, and V-Twin, that are the 3 motorcycle riding schools. And we see an increase of people coming through us, which is great.
Right. Well, you mean a lot of people will get their license and they're just self-taught?
Oh, I was. Back in the day, I've been riding for 40 years, and I rode mini bikes and dirt bikes, and then just moved on to a street bike.
Yeah. But you think it's important to get the additional training that you'd get
Oh,
at
for
a school
sure.
like yours or one of the other ones?
Yes. I would like you to come to my school for sure, but go to our school, whichever one you want to pick.
So what is the main thing you're getting out of these people obviously can can ride their bikes proficiently enough to get their license, what are they picking up when they go to a driving school?
Lane position techniques, visual techniques. Where are you looking, right? You know, in a car, you're surrounded by a steel cage. On a motorcycle, you're not. You need to be watching, scanning at all times, looking at that block ahead, anticipating things. So in my school, I use Bluetooth. So when you're on the road with me, we're hooked up to Bluetooth, and I can tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong as we ride, which is a huge benefit.
Right.
One of the biggest things that I see all the time is we're at an intersection, we're turning left. I'm positioned behind you where I can see your clutch. And I can see you looking, and then I can see your clutch moving out, and I'll say to you, well, is that car in front of you really, you know, close enough or far enough away for you to go? No, and you can see your clutch being brought back in. You know, that's the safety aspect of a school. We can tell you things like that.
Right.
You're doing this right, you're doing this wrong.
You follow along in a car or on another motorcycle?
We use another motorcycle.
And you're talking them through all these different situations?
Yes, and you can talk to me. You know, if you're nervous, say, I'm not sure about this, or we'll talk you through it. Or just pull over and we'll talk about it. If you're really nervous, let's, you know, draw. We all draw diagrams in the sand and the gravel to try to, you know, show you what to do. We can pull you over and talk about things or look at things.
Right. And there's some sort of complicated elements to riding, even on a, you know, lonely highway at a certain speed. When you're cornering, there's like counter steering that goes on where you're kind of, it seems counterintuitive a little bit, but you lean you sort of lean, kind of turning the bike in the opposite direction to make it go around the corner.
Yeah, you move the bike in the opposite direction just a little hair, and it'll adjust for you.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to explain, but when we're on the parking lot or on the road, we do scenarios, right, and practice things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest part of training is that parking lot. The first, you know, 2-3 hours that you're out there, figuring out how to work the clutch, where your gears are, where your brakes are, how hard to push the back brake versus the front brake. You know, all of those things. The parking lot, the first couple of days are your biggest wake-up call. These bikes need respect.
Right. So if I was to take 100 motorcyclists,
Yes.
how many of them have gone to a training school and how many have just done it on their own?
Depends on the years. If they're older people, probably half have maybe gone to a riding school. If they're younger people, more than half have now. Probably 60 to 70% have taken motorcycle schools.
Right. So I guess that's trending in the right direction.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the stats help us. You know, these people are dying. Why are they dying? They don't know how to ride properly or position themselves properly. We have Highway 97, 3 lanes, okay? We know that if we're in the far right lane, we ride closest to the white line. If we're in the middle lane, where do you ride? Because we know if we ride in the left lane, we're closest to the right side of the road, closest
Right.
to the line. But that middle lane for a single rider, I consider that a suicide lane because you're always in somebody's blind spot.
Yeah.
So I use that lane, I tell my students, as a transition lane only.
Mm-hmm.
You ride in the far right lane or you ride in the far left lane, but don't ride in the middle if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
If there's you and I riding together, you're on one side, I'm on the other. Now we can be seen by both vehicles.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, any last points about what riders can do on their own to make sure they don't wind up as being one of these statistical negatives?
Wear the right gear, okay? It doesn't have to be leather nowadays. I wear a Gore-Tex. There's Kevlar jeans. There's a whole bunch of different things out there. Go to the motorcycle shops, see what they have out there. You can go to Kijiji, some of the other internet sites to buy used stuff, which is good. Your helmet is the #1 protection, right? Be seen, okay? Don't always wear black. Wear something colorful, even if it's just your helmet, you know. And then position yourself in the open. We talk about when you're riding and there's a car in front of you, make sure that you can see that car, especially if he's on the other lane. Look in his mirror and make sure you can see the driver, because the driver's going to look in his mirror and see you. That's the hopeful thing.
Right. And then, of course, speed, and don't even have that one.
Not
beer.
that one drink.
Yeah.
And is speed really worth it? You know, you're supposed to be out there for an enjoyable day of riding. Enjoy it, right? Keep your distance away from other people, right? So that you don't have to panic if he hits his brakes.
All right. Thank you. Daryl Greeneisen.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.